up, yeah? Applause for the chef. I thought it was delicious. We have another dignitary who's entered the room. I'm very excited to introduce to you Shawna Bullock, State Representative. Please wave to Senate. LG20. We so appreciate our public servants and our elected officials, and I just want to make you aware that she is here in the room. And I'm going to hand the microphone back over to Colonel Grossman, who I think is going to give us a little sneak peek with Jim.
Hey folks, a personal friend of mine of many years, a great American hero, is Jim Irvine. He's a pioneer pastor. He's an airline pilot. I'm at least 1 million miles on every airline, 2 on one of them, 2 million. So I'm up there with these guys every day. They're the best we got. A lot of them are FFDOs, spend their own time, their own money. But Jim's gone above and beyond. He's pioneered the pastor program. He's the key behind what's happening in Ohio and Colorado and other states. We give a big hand for a good friend and an awesome American hero, Jim Irvine.
Hey folks, Jim Irvine, I'm from Ohio. It is absolutely a pleasure and an honor to be here. I've got the FASTO brochures and my cards are on the table up here, so I invite you guys to grab them. I didn't get them handed out, so come grab them if you're interested. It's an acronym. It stands for Faculty, Administrators, Safety, Training, and Emergency Response. And it's a politically correct way of saying we're going to arm our school staff to protect our kids. It works whether your school staff is Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative, because I don't care who you are unless I which line you want to draw. Everybody loves their kids. And everybody's sickened by the massacres and the slaughters that have gone on in our schools, and our churches, and our communities. So the program in a nutshell, we partnered with our nation's experts on this stuff, said give us the class, we'll help facilitate it, we'll help get it going and stuff. So that's what we've done. And Colonel Grossman's done, and I'll talk to you guys about that stuff, so stick around. One other thing I got to point out, because I also am chairman of the PAC, there's legislators in this room with you guys. So next year's a huge election year. Every one of us has had friends that tell you all politicians are the same. They have never met them. They're not all the same, because they're not all in this room with you. The ones that are in this room here are the ones that want to be here because they're us. They represent us. We all got to get involved and help get, if we want our laws fixed, we've got to fix our legislators. So work with the people who want to do that with you and get stuff going. I'll chat with you more on the faster stuff later in the day. And now, back to my great friend, Lieutenant Colonel Grossman.
All right, folks, now we're going to rock on. Feel free to finish eating. Don't worry about it. Keep driving on. We'll take this for about an hour, and then we'll get that after lunch break. Terribly important. Hey, one last thing about the whole media stuff. The addiction of this stuff is hard to wrap your mind around. The World Health Organization has identified gaming addiction as a huge problem worldwide. Meanwhile, the video game industry has invested so much money to stop America from doing that. But if you know people that are coming at it from an addiction standpoint, I mean, you send your kid off to college, the first semester they come unglued because all they do is play video games. And they're so addictive, they're destroying them. But an awesome lady coming from a medical perspective, putting it to screenstrong.com. Screenstrong.com. She's got 3 good books. Can your teen survive without a smartphone? You better believe it. And they'll be glad you did. Screenstrong. And will your gamer survive college? And some of the things that we need to know. Screenstrong.com, something to think about. All right, from this point on, we're diving head on into the toxic realm called combat. And a story began and it's all out on combat. They turned on combat into online force. GrossmanAcademy.com, www.grossmanacademy.com. Get an e-copy of the book, work all the way through the book, pick up some transferable credit hours, and some in-service training hours. We're diving through the book. You're going to get one today, so I want to recommend it. And the story began on Normandy Beach in World War II. A team of psychiatrists landed on Normandy Beach, and they studied what happened to the troops in combat. Now, obviously, many dead, many wounded. Of those who were left, after 60 days of inescapable daylight combat, 98% were literally driven crazy by combat. Their mind was weakened. They were not all destroyed for life. Give them a break. Let them get their feet back in the ground. But at least temporarily, 98% of those were driven crazy by combat. What about the other 2%? What do you think? They were crazy when they got there. But that's not entirely true. The World War II researchers lumped in to get this aggressive sociopaths or psychopaths. But it's actually more complex than that. Don't get hung up on specific numbers. The numbers can change a lot. Let's just call it 1% and 1%. An old Vietnam veteran, old retired colonel, one sent from him, I've known that ever since. He said, most people are sheep. Most people are just not wired for violence. Again, the hard thing to explain is not that 1 million terrible crimes. The hard thing to explain is the vast, vast majority never kill anybody or see a slide through it across their entire lifetime. Most people aren't wired for violence with one major exception. Mama bear protecting her cubs can be one of the most dangerous things on the planet. Folks, after the Sandy Hook massacre, the editor of a major nationwide newspaper sent me an email. She said, I read your book on killing. I can write an editorial about how these people buying guns, and the moment of truth won't be able to use them, and if they do, they'll be destroyed based on your book. I said, ma'am, you need to reread the book. To take an 18-year-old kid, draft him off the street, send him to a distant land, kill some guys that have no harm, that takes work. We're good at it, we know how to do it, but it takes work. And for a small percentage, it can be traumatic. To use violence to protect your loved ones, that's what we're wired to do. Of all the violence you can engage in, violence to protect your children is what we're wired to do. And of all the violence you can engage in, this is something you can live with. That person made the decision to threaten my children, and they will live or die with the quality of their medical care. Do you understand? So folks, just understand though, with that exception, most people are sheep. And there's a small minority that can't even use violence to protect their children. But then there are wolves. And the wolf will feed the sheep without mercy. Are there wolves in the land? Are there people who harm your children without hesitation? Tell it to Sandy Hook, tell it to this land. And when we try to pretend, there's no bad man out here, you, my friend, are in denial, and denial turns us into sheep. Again, I'm a cop, I got my clothes on, I got a gun. The other day I went to step outside and have my gun for a minute. Stop, said bye, went and got my gun. So they're wolves, they're sheep, and then the old boy said, there are sheepdogs. He said, I am a predator too. I am a meat eater too. But I live to protect the flock and confront the wolf. Only a predator can hunt a predator. Well, folks, if you have no propensity for violence, then when bad things happen, odds are good you'll be destroyed if there's a sheep out there. If you have a propensity for violence and an absence of empathy, violence without empathy is a pretty good thumbnail definition of a sociopath, an aggressive psychopath. But what if you have a propensity for violence and a love for the lambs? What if you spent a lifetime nurturing the capacity for violence and a desire to use it in a righteous battle? Now what do you have? A sheepdog. And this is the key. Ultimately, these people are shattered by combat. These people are crazy when they got there. But these people that will survive and thrive in the heart of darkness, they're not psychopaths, they're not sociopaths, and they're not destroyed by combat. What have they got? We want. I call it the bulletproof mind. The military calls it resiliency. I was a keynote speaker at the first Department of Defense-wide resiliency conference. Resiliency is a term for people who do not get PTSD. What kind of people don't get PTSD? Holocaust survivors and POWs who endure unthinkable evil and do not have PTSD. Do you believe there's such people? It's a simple scientific fact. A memoir a while back, as a young pilot, he'd been shot down over North Vietnam. Year after year, torture and malnutrition as a prisoner of war in North Vietnam without end in sight. He said, I walked out of that POW camp. It's a simple medical fact. I did not have PTSD, and most of us did. I said, sir, that's resiliency. That's what we studied. What made that possible? Here's what he said. Every evil act the enemy inflicted upon us renewed our faith. We're in the right side of this world. Think about that. Every bad thing that happened in this world should renew your faith that the world needs what you have to give. Yes? You'd be like Batman. The average citizen of Gotham City sees the news, crime, death, violence. What do? Hunker down, hide, lock the door. Batman, here's where crime and violence, what he do? He trains his tail off. You will never find Batman on the golf course. And then he uses his skill. We're not all cops. We're not going to all hunt the bad man. If he comes to our part of the world, he comes to our meadow, he's got a surprise for you. Understand? The first step in resiliency is motivation. To know that the world desperately needs what you have to give. And folks, what greater motivation can there be than our children, our grandchildren? Who would not walk out that door and take a bullet for your kids? Well, that's what you do every day. You walk out the door because we are fighting for the survival of our civilization. And you go home to your children, your grandchildren, you look them in the eyes, and swear by all that's holy that our legacy of them will not be darkness, death, and despair. And we will not be the generation that fails to pass on to our children all the blessings bestowed upon us by our forefathers. Now don't you pop a pity party on us here. Don't you dare give up on our nation. You think it's bad? It's bad. It's going to get worse. Look at 1812 when they burned Washington to the ground. Look at the Civil War where killed off by the hundreds of thousands. Look at the living hell of 2 world wars. Look at the Cold War, Korea, Vietnam, thermonuclear holocaust, hanging overhead decade after decade. There have been other hard times. We're in through those dark times because Americans took and sacrificed, and it's our turn to sacrifice. My son's got 9 combat tours. You want to feel sorry for yourself. Think about the kids over there. They got it hard over there. Ain't nothing over here hard. If I sacrifice him and family 1 or 2 nights a week, that's not too much to ask. If I sacrifice hanging off the golf clubs and hit the range and hit the gym and hit the dojo, that's not too much to ask. So the first step in resilience is motivation. As we love our children, and we will come full cycle back to the word love. As we love our children, as we love our nation, as we love our way of life, we will walk out that door and give 100%. The next step in resiliency is motivation turned into action. See, there are no ultimate sheepdogs. Look at these people up and down the scale. The Bible says faith without works is what? Faith without works is dead. Motivation without action is not truly motivation. And what is the scale of denial? What is the opposite of denial? Acceptance. And if you truly accept, you'll prepare. The more you strip away denial and embrace preparation, the better you can thrive physically and psychologically. By the way, folks, we're going to teach you a bit about PTSD today. Post-traumatic stress disorder. I call PTSD the gift that keeps on giving. Kind of like herpes. Don't cop a pity party here, but look, if you die, that's not contagious. You lose a limb, your kids can't catch that. You come home with a load of emotional baggage. It can echo down across the generation. And if we're going to survive in that toxic mind, then we want that. And so, folks, I want you to understand, I've been doing this for 22 years, 63 years old, and 1 sick day in all those years. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, but I missed being outside. After a military career, I missed weeks in the desert, the jungle, the forest. You give me a break. Gravel trail around the lake outside of town, smell the pine. My little grandson, ever since he was 3, he's a little more. He's high school senior this year. And in the summer, it's hot. Very often, we're out there late on a Saturday night when it finally cools off. Pitch black. Quite a while back now, just a little guy. Walk around this lake singing and talking. He says, "Grandpa, it's dark," like he just now discovered. I told the dark, "Come here, friend, and thief, you come for the dark." Now, of course, I've got a gun. Beat me, whip me, kick me out the door naked before I'll be my loved ones without the tools to protect them. Of course, I've got a gun. I got a big old German Shepherd will bark in the dark. He says, "Grandpa, there's scary things in the night." I said, "Yeah, it's us." You asked my grandson, "There's scary things at night?" He said, "Yeah, it's us." He believes his grandpa, his dog, and he are the scariest thing to walk the night. You know what? He's right. We open the Sheepdog Kids book. We open the Sheepdog Kids book with what I call the angel of the night. The angel of the night. Fear not the night. Fear that which walks the night, and I am that which walks the night. But only evil need fear me. And gentle souls say, "Think of the bit, because I walk the night." Carpe noctem. Seize the night. Any fool can seize the day. We seize the night. with the finest hardware, the finest software. We're confident in our skills. Now here's the point. The sheep say, oh, what good is your little pistol going to do? There'll be 2 of them. They'll have body armor. They'll have rifles. They'll come out of nowhere. And then what are you and your little pistol going to do? I want you to notice how the sheep come up with weird, convoluted scenarios to prove that nothing they can do. And they're right. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They believe that nothing they can do, and so they do nothing. That makes them dead people waiting for somebody to come and fulfill the prophecy. I see dead people all around. The sheepdog is just the opposite. 2 of them, body armor, rifles. Maybe in a good day, I can do it Officer Craig Stevens did. The sheep invent weird, convoluted scenarios to paralyze themselves. The sheepdog is just the opposite. And here's the crazy part. Even if that preparation fails you, you're less likely to get PTSD because you did those things. Denial kills us twice. Denial kills us once physically. You don't have the tools, you don't have the skills, and you die like any other sheep. Denial kills us twice because even if you survive, you live the rest of your life in hell with the simple things you could and should have done. Preparation saves us twice. It saves us once physically. You have the skills, you have the tools, and you're triumphant. But even if you fail, you can live with yourself because you did everything you can do. And so, folks, strip away denial and come further up the path. Pop quiz. Oh no, not another test. Identify for me the sheep on this photograph. I love this photo. There's so much going on. A bomb has gone off, left the screen, and somebody's shooting in the crowd. Look at that. What's going on? Get out of there, shoot that guy. Look at the sheepdog striding, and look at that kid. I love that kid. That kid is a survivor. He's already moving. Here's the exact same scene a split second later. The flock is in full stampede. The sheepdog strides toward the danger. That little guy, he knows good cover when he sees it. You know what's better than a ceramic plate between you and the bad guy? 2 ceramic plates, camelback human body between you and the bad guy. There's sad little people out there say, one man's freedom fighter, another man's terrorist. They're no different than us, they're just the other side. Baloney. That little boy can tell the difference. We see in the sheepdog kid book, the wolf lives to destroy. The sheepdog lives to protect. The wolf says might makes right. The sheepdog says might alone is not strength, and compassion is not weakness. Might alone is not strength, and compassion is not weakness. The wolf, the coward, will use the lambs as human shields. The sheepdog is a human shield for the lambs. There's all the difference in the world. And so, folks, I want to give you one last case study here to tie all this together. And let's read the caption on this one. Get you oriented here. One of 4 kids being held hostage, literally been used as human shields. I marked out the name of the criminal. Folks, we have irrefutable scientific evidence. Every time the media tells us a name and shows us a picture of a criminal, they're inspiring others to do the same. They have no self-restraint. They have no self-control. They absolutely refuse to accept any responsibility whatsoever. The commercials worth billions of dollars. The garbage in between the commercials has no responsibility for anything in our society. But folks, the nation of New Zealand got right. That mosque massacre, they said we will never say his name. We will never show his picture. Finally, somebody gets it. That is punishment. Never say the name. Never show the picture. Make them nothing. Make them nobody. And the media could get an immediate halt to many of these crimes by simply doing that. And they refuse to do it. But remember the reporter Kennedy, 10 years old. One of 4 kids being used as human shields, held hostage. Cops got him out a window. Cops physically screening him with their bodies as they move him away from danger. Look at that little hand gripping that jacket. Look at that little face that's in that jacket. Somewhere deep in that young man's soul, he knows at the moment of truth, the sheepdog were there for him. Not just our cops, all of us. We're there for them in the hour of greatest need. It's the worst of times, it's the best of times. And the opportunity to be there for them in their hour of greatest need is amazing. I believe courage and honor will defeat hate and fear every time. I believe in truth, justice in the American way. I believe it will defeat crime and violence in the end. I believe in the redeeming power of love. And I believe sheepdogs who love their fellow citizens enough to lay their life down for them represent one of the most powerful and beautiful forces in our civilization. And you believe in who you are. You believe in what you do. You sheepdogs who stand ready to protect everything that's dear and precious in our world. So folks, the sheep can be a little wary of the sheepdog some days, but we like our sheep. Yeah, we like our sheep. And we would have trouble living with ourselves. If somebody came to hurt our lambs, we have done everything we can, right? First step in resilience is motivation. The second step, motivation turned into action. And the next step in resiliency is a positive self-fulfilling prophecy. The crazy thing about combat, if you think combat will destroy you, then you're halfway home to being destroyed. We've all heard of a hypochondriac. Hypochondriacs will make themselves physically ill through mental processes. Well, believe me, you can make yourself mentally ill through mental processes. And Hollywood has given us two goofy myths. The first goofy Hollywood myth is what I call the pity party. Hollywood loves the pity party. The tormented, haunted veteran comes home from the war scarred for life. There are people like that, but they're rare. You must believe the vast majority have been made stronger by combat. How many saw the movie Saving Private Ryan? Saw the World War II vets with him? Not for a one-year rotation, year after year without end in sight, the World War II veterans faced things we can imagine. And they came home, and they were the greatest generation. And a new greatest generation rising up in these times. Nietzsche said, what doesn't kill us only makes us what? That's the name of a book I commend your attention. What doesn't kill us, the new science of post-traumatic growth. But Nietzsche stole that from the Bible. 2,000 years before Nietzsche, Romans chapter 5, we glory in tribulation. For tribulation work of patience, patience experience, experience hope, and hope maketh not ashamed. Romans chapter 5, 2,000 years before Nietzsche, he stole that from the Bible. The idea of being stronger for the bad things like post-traumatic growth is not a new idea. The pity party, waving the victim card, that's a new idea. And you don't want nothing to do with it. And there is so much garbage about our troops in the media. How many of y'all heard 22 veterans today take their life? Best way to tell that's accurate. Is there anybody in the room that knew of that 22? Only one or two are from the girl part? Folks, the word veteran is not the same as combat veteran. Two different concepts. A veteran is anybody who served in the armed forces. And in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, they drafted everybody. Elvis Presley was drafted. Elvis was a veteran. Folks, here's a Gallup poll that tells us 24% of all adult American males are veterans. And most of those suicides are 70, 80, 90-year-old people. Do you understand? You're really looking at suicide among the elderly, a totally different dynamic. And one suicide is too many. But they say 22 veterans didn't take their life. Boom, we think it's from the current war. And it's a lie. It's a lie of omission. Oh, they're all suicidal. They're all taking their life. No, they're not. One suicide is too many. But this myth that the war has destroyed them all is part of the whole anti-war propaganda, twisting and distorting. And every time you hear that 22 veterans a day, it enrages me. Because they automatically assume it's from this war when the truth is just the opposite. But folks, you also hear them say 8% of all prison population are veterans. 24% of adults American males are veterans. Now listen, there's a good chunk of people who were dirtbags in the military. We kicked them out, but they still count as veterans. Do you understand? The idea that they're all suicidal and homicidal is a lie. The veteran is far less likely to commit a violent crime. And the idea that they're all suicidal is a misrepresentation. But how about this one, folks? What ratio of the veterans have PTSD? The senator from California says all veterans are insane, never be trusted. U.S. Senator says all veterans are broken. Right? She wants to know what she's talking about, yeah. What ratio of veterans contract PTSD? A half, a third, a quarter? Lie, 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 lie. Now, you said the date with the data. That comes right up. Go to the VA website, Public Health, PTSD, and Iraq and Afghanistan. Do that with your PowerPoint. But do we? I spit on your PowerPoint. Folks, 15.7%. Let's just call it 16% of the folks deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan have PTSD. 11% of the ones who didn't deploy have PTSD. About 5% contract PTSD. The British studied their troops in Afghanistan, 5%. The Dutch studied their troops in Afghanistan, 5%. Even when you look only at the ones who are in close combat, it never gets over 8%. You could make an argument that life in America messes up twice as many people as a combat corps. Yeah. And there's about 10% of the population, if you push the right button, you'll get a post-traumatic response. And 5% of 3 million people is a lot of people. And they deserve our help. I keep running to veterans who think something's wrong with them because there's nothing wrong with them. Where do all the crazy numbers come from? Well, there was a good study in the first batch of troops coming back from Iraq. Google this, find it word for word. It said 30 to 40% had some symptoms of PTSD. Having some of the symptoms of PTSD is not PTSD normal. That pulls us up, hit the dirt. That's one of the symptoms of PTSD. It's also a survival mechanism that it takes a while to go away. So folks, Google this, you find it word for word. Then they took one word out. Is that a lie? Take one word out, is that a lie? 30-40% had symptoms of PTSD. Oh, we got symptoms. You must have PTSD, took one word out. Is that a lie? Take one word out. 30-40% had PTSD. Somewhere along the line, they lost the 30. Google 40% PTSD, 7 times a cut, hundreds of thousands of times, and every time is a lie. And they don't count the times. They almost have over a third. Folks, I presented at national and international psych conferences. I've always got some British psychiatrists saying, well, Dave, the British troops were at 5% PTSD. The Americans were at 40%. What's the difference? The difference is lying scumbags in the media. If we gave one hoot now about our veterans, if they gave one damn about our veterans, this persistent fear of our veterans in the media should piss us off right down to our socks. Folks, the Vietnam veteran was spit on and called baby killers. It really did happen. Oh, today they're not victims. They're not villains, they're victims. They're homicidal, suicidal, PTSD-riddled nutcases. And it's all about anti-war propaganda. And they do not care how much they distort or twist, how much they misrepresent our veterans. The war is evil, and any lie is acceptable if it just stops us from ever going through another evil war again. War can be hard. But let's make an intelligent, informed assessment of whether or not to do it. Let's not listen to that garbage, and let's not paint our veterans as homicidal, suicidal, PTSD-riddled nutcases. So folks, no pity party. Go with that life and death event, believe in it will make you stronger. Who would not want to stand next to Officer Greg Stevens in the next government? Yes. No pity party. But the other group we all forget is the macho man. No pity party, no macho man or macho gal. Play them out there. It was 20 years ago. An old Miami detective told me, he said, Colonel, you tell these kids, don't be the macho man. He said, I got my shooting, it's eating me alive. Most cops get in a shooting, no big deal. For some it is. That's okay, we're there for them. He said it was 2 years of hell after my police shooting. I was losing my wife, I was losing my kids, I was losing my child. Finally, after 2 years of hell, just before the divorce, my wife convinced me to get help. 2 months later, it was all over. I had 2 years of hell, and I could have ended it any time. You tell these guys, don't be the macho man. Don't try to macho out, get help. We've got to create an environment which is okay to get help. And folks, a lot of these Vietnam veterans, they say, I don't want to get help, and then I might take my guns away. And actually, the probability of that is almost non-existent. But the very fact that they have to worry about that should enrage us. This whole business that we're going to confiscate their gun, this is just an abomination. That should enrage us. But folks, we're good at treating PTSD, we get better every day. And folks, the biggest lie out there, PTSD is untreatable. No, it's not. Folks, the cover of Newsweek magazine. And the cover of Newsweek magazine, it will go that breaking through radical therapy. We're treating the treatable victims of PTSD. There is no such thing. They got help. The online version, go online and look. They edited that out. Go to Google Images, look at the original page, front page, and millions of people saw the treatable victims of PTSD. They had to go in and change it electronically. But why would any mental health professional have told them PTSD is untreatable? Why, in the face of hundreds of thousands of cases we treat and recover fully every day? Why, in the face of ever-advancing medical science? Why, in the face of an indomitable human spirit, why would any mental health professional say PTSD is for life? Two reasons. Number one, politics. Hundreds of thousands of shattered human beings, and they never recover, and the price of one's value, we get. Number two, job security. Our cutie 2 months out of a job. If I cook you to a lifetime of therapy, and maybe with a lifetime of therapy, we can adapt. No. We are increasingly convinced if you want to get better, and we get the proper treatment, almost any recover fully and be stronger with experience. I trained a major SWAT team a while back during the break here on City Colonel. The doc sucked this guy off the team. Doc says it's okay. Can we trust him? Yes, you can trust him. He's stronger for the experience. He's got a piece of paper says he's sane. You got one of those? Hello? Marcus Luttrell, lone survivor. Remember the movie? Navy SEALs, entire team's wiped out. He's captured. He's tortured. Every bad thing that happened to somebody happened to Marcus Luttrell. Marcus has a podcast called Team Never Quit. I was on his podcast a while back and got his permission to talk about him. Across all these years, I couldn't talk about him. Now I can. I trained Marcus Luttrell's unit before and after that incident. Now, folks, I need to understand something here. Post-traumatic stress is like being overweight. Post-traumatic stress disorder is obese. We all intuitively understand that they're completely overweight and obese. And Marcus Luttrell's doc told me he came back from that incident and he was 500 pounds PTSD. Totally debilitated. A year later, he was 50 pounds PTSD. He wanted to deploy again with the unit, and he did, and it was a good thing. I told him at the time, look how far you've come in just the last year. Your doc tells me you were 500 pounds PTSD, now you're 50 pounds. Look at the progress you've made, and have confidence you can come farther. Anytime you show anybody any progress, say, look at the progress you've made, have confidence you can go farther. Today, Marcus Luttrell tells us he is 100% post-traumatic stress-free and stronger with experience. It took years, it wasn't easy. If that man can come out the other end, completely free of post-traumatic stress, anyone can, hear me? So folks, no pity party, but no macho man, no macho gal. If there's a problem, you deal with it, and have faith that help can help. Weave a path, a balanced path between these two obstacles. I'm not saying this is easy. You didn't choose the easy road when you chose to stand up and confront evil. But it's a whole lot easier if you know the names of the left and right. Beware the pity party, beware the macho man. And find that middle way. And you know, at the height of the war, I was training so many battalions of brigades going back and forth from the war. But a couple of times I trained our wounded warrior battalions. And a whole room full of these troops have been shot to hell and blown to bits. And we take them all, we put them in one place, we give good leadership, we process them and support them, going through the medical process. And I tell them what happened in that school in Russia. I tell them our enemy's evil. If you hear toward evil, you say, what happened at school in Russia? Or how about Sandy Hook Elementary School? Yes? We are fighting evil. Our enemy's evil. Our cause is just. Your sacrifice is for a noble and worthy purpose. And somebody just put their head in their arms and began to cry. No leader had ever stood up in front of them and told them those simple, irrefutable facts. Our enemy's evil. We are in a war against evil. Our cause is just. Our sacrifice for a noble and worthy purpose. And you believe in who you are. Well, folks, the next step in resiliency is, I usually put a little piece about sleep in here. I just want you to understand that truck drivers and airline pilots are required to log in and sleep, but cops aren't. And that should enrage us. When bad things happen, sleep-deprived people are far more likely to do bad things. If I were king and could pass one law, I would mandate sleep for law enforcement. Folks, I'm going to get in a plane in a couple hours, and if they don't have a rescue crew, they will cancel the flight. I'm good with that. Better no pilot than tired pilot. Better no cop than a tired cop. We don't have enough. Then pay them more, and it will happen. We're a wealthy nation. When things go wrong, we throw money at it. If the public knew how bad it was, if you were reporting the damn news and the murder rates, the person who decides whether or not to shoot your kid should be the best trained, best paid guy on the planet. And we dig in our heels and say, no, better no cop than a tired cop. Tired people make mistakes. Airline pilots, air traffic controllers, nuclear power plant operators, tugboat operators, ferryboat operators, MVAC engineers, and truck drivers. Just a few of the people required to log enough sleep. For the guy who decides whether or not to shoot your kid is not, that should enrage us. The people who are attacking our cops, attacking me, I tell them, look, you want to make a difference? You're mad about cops? Here's something we all agree on. They should be mandated sleep. I don't want to hear that. They don't want to fix it. They just want to hurt people. They want to strike out on our cops. And so, folks, just understand that the sleep deprivation is destroying our children. It's destroying our way of life. We got people out there making life and death decisions who should not be in that situation. Better no pilot than a tired pilot. Better no cop than a tired cop. And I tell my cops we're in a zero defects environment. Just one person walks out that door and do something stupid, and we'll all pay a terrible price. Yeah? Never lower the standards. Retention is down and recruiting is down. They pay them more. But never lower the standards. Folks, the airlines are in zero defects. They cannot crash a single plane. Oh, come on. 30,000 traffic deaths a year, 10,000 traffic accidents a day. One airline crash a day is reasonable. No. One airline crash a year? No. One every 10 years? No. You cannot crash a single plane. You cannot let a single passenger be sucked out the window. We will investigate you, we will find you, we may fire you, and we might just put you in jail. That's what zero defects looks like. And our cops are now in that environment. I trained the American Sheriff's Association. Just 2 days ago, I trained the Kentucky Sheriff's Association. Told sheriff, better no cop than a tired cop. You want more cops than them, and you pay more. And they will. Again, we're a fabulously wealthy nation. When things go wrong, we throw money at it. We have not even begun to throw money at this problem. Well, folks, we began kind of touchy-feely, talking about the positive self-fulfilling prophecy and motivation. And the sleep is some hard science. We're fast forward with that, but what we really want to dive into now is what happens to your mind and body in life and death event. Everybody that has a copy of On Combat, and again, if you have one book, what I want you to have, there's one we have plenty of up there. Turn to page 31 in On Combat and follow along. Turn to page 31 in On Combat. This is a pretty famous slide of ours. We give you permission for it to be used in lots of textbooks and scholarly works. And folks, down at the bottom of page 31, I want you to underline, highlight, hormonal, or fear-induced heart rate increase. This is the impact of adrenaline on your body. Now, I want to start the afternoon off with a photograph here. These are two individuals coming down for the World Trade Center, 9/11. The cop is a giant of a man by the name of Christopher Amoroso on a second trip down for the World Trade Center. Now, she has got what we call vasodilation. Her base is beet red. We've all seen that. You have a darker complexion. It's not quite so obvious. It's happening to everybody. Got a light complexion, watch it happen. He is experiencing vasoconstriction. Their heart rate would be exactly the same. The impact on their body is exactly the opposite. I have spent a lifetime studying the color images of frightened human beings. And I have never found such an example of vasoconstriction and vasodilation side by side. Don't worry so much about the guy that's red with rage. You worry about the one that's white with rage. Now he's taking a blow to that left cheekbone. The other side of the head, there's a big bad cut. He's been burned. He's on a second trip down to the World Trade Center. People are dying all around him. But we'll come back and understand why he's got vasoconstriction. vasoconstriction, what makes them different. But the doc tells us this vasoconstriction, sometimes called the mask of fear. You see the white across the eyes. When the whole face goes white, watch out. The docs tell us this vasoconstriction is happening at the pre-capillary stage. Just before the capillaries, there's a mechanical shutdown of the blood flow. Now the arteries are very deep. The arteries can be holding up to twice as much blood. The arteries and the body core can be holding up to twice as much blood. Vasoconstriction, unarmed number, most important word on the slide. So there's a shutdown at the pre-capillary stage. The arteries and the body core can be holding up to twice as much blood. What happened to your blood pressure? Skyrockets. Just about any time you see stress-induced increase in blood pressure, it's vasoconstriction. You're like, wow, what's that for us? The outer layer of the body becomes like a layer of armor. You can soak up enormous trauma. As long as you don't hit an artery and you're very deep, as long as you don't puncture the body core, you won't bleed out in the heat of battle. Does that sound like a survival mechanism? Let's say you're fighting a wolf. If the wolf wins, your family's dog food. You're not fighting for your life. You're fighting for the survival of your genes, of your family, of your tribe. You're trying to keep the wolf's head in with a rock. His jaws can shred your arm and not get to the artery. His claws will shred your chest and not puncture the body core. The sustained vicious battle, he shreds your arm, he shreds your chest, you don't bleed out. Finally, you cave his head with a rock, you've won the battle, you've saved your family, then you relax. And then you bleed out and die. The body will always backlash in the opposite direction. The body will always backlash. The wound that didn't leave the heat of battle will gush blood afterwards. Today we slap a tourniquet on the wound. We survive in the battle because of vasoconstriction. We survive after the battle because of our friend, Mr. Tourniquet. Yeah? But folks, what's the price we pay for this wonderful survival mechanism? The muscles ain't getting blood. The muscle will get blood, it's not working. So initially you lose your complex motor, you lose your fine motor control. You do not have a lie detector, but you have a stress detector when you shake somebody's hand. You know, I had the honor of presenting all day long on Saturday in a church to 150 law enforcement couples. And I took my normal law enforcement class with a spiritual focus all the way down the line. My latest book is Bulletproof Marriage, a 90-day devotional. And at the end, a pastor got up and looked at 300 people and had them all look each other in the eyes, 150 couples, and renew their vows. And it was deep, it was powerful, it was beautiful. And cops are an intimidating audience for a lot of people. Talking spiritual stuff people don't even know. That's a tricky thing to pull off. And he was so calm and so confident and so squared away. And just amazing. I walked up and shook his hand. Great job, Pastor. His hand was ice cold. Of course there was stress. Who wouldn't feel stress? But you would have never known it until you walked up and shook his hand. Yeah? All right, so, and his handwriting probably been a sloppy. As it gets worse and worse, you lose your complex motor control. It gets worse and worse in a catastrophic realm we call condition white. Our enemy is condition white. Condition white is for sheep. If you're living your life in condition white, and the bad stuff comes down, you bought yourself a deluxe first class one-way ticket to condition black. Do not pass go, do not collect $100, go straight to panic stuff. Every grass eater has two speeds. What are the two speeds every grass eater has? Graze and stampede. Denial and panic. It's denial that traps us in condition white. When the bad stuff comes, we bought a deluxe first class one-way ticket to condition black. We want to live our lives in condition yellow. Condition yellow is a state of mental readiness. Anything goes wrong, you're not stunned, you're not surprised, you were ready. And you pop up condition red. Now look what we gain in condition red. Look what we gain in condition red. Your optimal survival and combat performance level, complex motor skills, visual reaction time, cognitive correct time, all that. So those good things? What's the price you pay for those things? Some loss of fine motor control. But we partially compensate for that with training. Let me give you a sports example. Basketball players out on the court. Basketball players function in condition red because he's done hundreds of thousands of shots in practice. He shot left hand, right hand, moving in, moving out, moving left, moving right. In the game, moving next, he doesn't hit those shots like they're practice. But give him 5 seconds to make a free throw. His approach is completely different. Study basketball players making free throws. Study, you see it like this. He's like a sniper. He's going to take all the time you give him. He's going to pull himself from condition red down to condition yellow. He's going to regain his fine motor control, make his free throw, get back out on the court, rock and roll. But jiu-jitsu, the martial art of the firearm, one of the great strengths they have is shooting for time. And in this time, you're all the time in the world. You take your time. You make that slow, careful shot when you can. But you know, this one, you don't have the time. You shoot as fast as you can and still making the hit. And you go back and forth from slow time to fast time, slow time to fast time. Condition red, condition yellow, back and forth. And it's dynamite. But folks, who on the battlefield must live in condition yellow? Must never lose fine motor control. Pilots. My helicopter pilot loses fine motor control in a close approach on a hot LZ where I'll have a very bad day. How does the pilot's voice always sound over the radio? Call aboard, one-time. The worse it gets, the calmer they get, huh? Houston, we have a problem. How about this and that? We're going to the hooks, yeah? How did they do that? Well, we found out the hard way in 10,000 dogfights and 50,000 Navy's emergency coming over the radio. If you can't control your voice, you can't control your hands. And most of the time when the pilot keys that mic, you hear your voice. It's a biofeedback loop. You hear your voice. And if you can't control your voice, you can't control your hands. If your pilot hurts, you're probably going to die. So how should a cop's voice sound coming over the radio during a high-speed pursuit? Like a pilot. Well, a lawful, legitimate, necessary pursuit, or to decide whether or not let them do it, first thing you do is listen to the voice coming over the radio. Fighter pilot, test pilot comes over the radio, you're good to go. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck comes over the radio, that must be pulled off the pursuit. I'm going to talk later about pulling yourself from fight or flight to rest and digest, from sympathetic to parasympathetic dynamics. But one of the tools we use is a swig of water. It's powerful. We'll tell you more about it. But a cop shot me an email. He said, Dave, on a high-speed pursuit. I keyed the mic, and I heard Mickey Mouse come over the radio. I remember what you said. Big swig of water, key the mic, pilot come over the radio from that point on. So we'll talk more about that. But who else has to live in condition yellow? Bomb techs. I trained DOD worldwide. My bomb tech loses fine motor control was a fuse in a bomb. He's having a bad day. And docs, I just did a podcast for New York City's ER docs. I trained pararescue and spec-off docs. My doc loses fine motor control while my life is slipped into his hands. I'm having a bad day, yes? And snipers and leaders. Can we all agree that military and law enforcement leaders got to remain calm in the heat of battle? All of us, when things are going to hell and people are dying, we've got to remain calm. Can we all agree on that? That is why warriors do not respect leaders who blow their whistle. We're all human, we all lose it sometime. When we do, we know we made a mistake, but try to do a better job the next time, yeah? Most of us, as we get older, we get a little better at that. That's why most of us make better grandparents than we did parents. And we all got kids. And we all ever looked at your parents with your kids and said, are you the same ones that raised me? No, they're not. They're at least 20 years older, more mature. It's called maturity. We want to get it as fast as we can. You understand? It's maturity. And folks, nobody respects our temper tantrum. They respect our call. You've all had some kind of leader that got in your face and screamed at you, and you despise that person. Do not be that person. You see, the next step in resiliency is to nurture an environment of quiet professionals. The laconic Spartan, the stoic Roman, the inscrutable samurai, the stiff upper-lip Brit, and the day we talk about the quiet profession. Those are all different ways of saying the same thing. Warrior societies who were known for their self-control. And folks, we're all human. But folks, in the military, in every branch of the armed forces, the drill sergeant gets in your face and screams at you. It's a form of stress inoculation. It's used in that environment and only that environment. You think that the drill sergeant goes to the normal unit, he's out of control. He's the last one to do that because he knows it's a game that we play in one very specific circumstance and is completely inappropriate under any other circumstance. Oh, I gotta shut up and get their attention. No. We are what we practice to do. And if we practice having temper tantrums, when things go to hell, that's what we're going to do. So we're all human. But the next step in resiliency is to nurture an environment of quiet professionals. Strive for that self-restraint. Strive for that self-control. When you lose it, it's embarrassing. But we're living and we're learning, and we're going to do better the next time. You understand? And what's it look like to live your life in conditionality? Well, folks, keep your back to the wall. It takes no more time, it takes no more energy. Your family knows somebody's going to have the back of the wall. It's going to be you. Carry the life-saving tools of your profession. Hold your loved one's hand, but keep your gun hand free. In academies nationwide, they're putting a ban on police academies to put a ban on your non-firing hand. You pick anything up with your gun hand, you just start doing push-ups. Very quickly, you learn to keep that gun hand free. My dad was a cop, carrying gun back for a lifetime. I was at his back to the wall. My mom and dad had that kind of romance they read stories about. Just across all those years they come in there. Mom died about 20 years ago in her sleep. Slowed up, but Dad never woke up. I know she wanted to go that way. My dad died about a year later. Sat in his chair, hold his beer. Never spilled his beer. I think he wouldn't want to go that way. I miss him both awful bad. I'd give just about anything for another 20 minutes. But my dad bought 20 extra years one day at the supermarket. Mom and Dad in the supermarket, the store, come around the corner, holding hands, and there is an unhappy customer. All of us might have an unhappy customer out there somewhere. We can meet him any time. This guy draws a gun and declares his intention to harm two of the most precious people on the planet. They're holding hands. Mom walks down, gun hands free. I was at a lightning cross. I'd sit for Mom, draws his weapon, and the situation was satisfactorily resolved. I almost lost him both that day. He thought he found a sheep. He was surprised he found a sheepdog. You understand? Had fangs. The sheepdog would never walk out the door without his fangs. They're part of who he is. They're part of what they do. Do you understand? And the sheepdog must always have those tools with us. Keep your back to the wall. Hold your loved one's hand and keep that gun hand free. And I challenge you, in front of all your friends, on the phone, tell your spouse, I love you. They'll be suspicious the first couple of times. But if you knew it was the last words you would ever say to them, you know, darn well, that's what you don't want to do. Live intensely in the moment. Make every phone call like it might be the last one you'll ever make. And tell them I love you. So many cops die, the last words on the lips, tell my wife I love you. So folks, live in conditionality. When the bad stuff comes down, you're not stunned, you're not overwhelmed. The skills, the tools are there for us. But let's study that toxic realm of conditioned life. Okay. And the first thing that happens, cognitive processing deteriorates. That's a fancy way of saying you stop thinking. I'm going to put a model up here. We're going to back this model for the rest of the day. When we talk about PTSD, we'll come back to this model. When we do our final exam, we'll come back to this model. But we got the part of the brain we're going to call the forebrain. Inside the forebrain goes everything that makes us human. What are the things that happen in your head that will never happen in your daughter's head? Let's call it rational thought. Rational thought. Like underneath the forebrain, you've got a thing called the midbrain or the mammalian brain. Just gets oriented as your little beady bloodshot eye looking out this way. Inside the midbrain goes everything every living creature has in common. What do you, your dog, the bacteria in your body have in common? Oh, forgive me, there's a joke, a classical joke. And this 1950 psychophysiology textbook, and a research on a modern textbook, that function in the midbrain can be thought of as the 4 F's. That 4 F's are fight and Sure, fight, flee, food, and reproduction. Every living creature, your dog, the bacteria in your body are capable of these four things. Now folks, the interaction between the four is fascinating. There is a powerful drive to reproduction in the face of death. Folks, you take a yellow dandelion, uproot it, and throw it on the concrete. The next day, it will go to seed. Its last dying act is to pass on the genes. Understand? It's a powerful drive to reproduction in the face of death, and it scares people. Folks, FDNY, I work for the fire department in New York a couple times a year on a steady basis, and they tell me they got a brutal, desperate 3-alarm fire. They finally put the fire out, and they get home at the end of the shift, man. The EMS, they trained 300 EMS in Maine a while back. They told me they got a 12-car pileup, and they're scrambling and saving lives. We're doing our job, and finally get home at the end of the shift, and cops say, knock down, drag out, cuff them and stuff them. Finally get home at the end of the shift, and cops say, gunfight, bad guys down, I'm alive. Finally get home, and many of them say, some of the best sex I've had in months. Both partners can be very invested in some very intense sex. And nothing wrong if it doesn't happen. Either it's like, oh, reduce libido, nothing wrong if it does happen. Is it the affirmation of life in the face of death? Is there a hormonal surge? I don't know. There's not a whole lot of perks that come with this lifestyle. You ever find one? Relax and enjoy it. I tell my cops, off duty. Wait, it'll still be there, I promise. Yeah. That's a big point. Yeah. Right, so folks, here's why this model is important. Here's the key. When we become angry, when we become frightened, the forebrain shuts down. And the midbrain, the part of the brain, same as your dog, reaches up and hijacks the forebrain. There's no rational about that person's head. Have you ever tried to have an argument or a discussion with a truly angry, frightened person? You can't do it. The more angry, the more frightened, the less rational they become. You know why you can't have an intelligent conversation with an angry, frightened person? Because there's nobody home. You're trying to argue with their dog through the mail slot. There's nobody home with the dog, get it up. With the human being, we gotta calm them down first. So how do we calm someone down? Well, folks, I was a West Point psych professor. General Eisenhower later become President Eisenhower, a West Point grad. He said, I want every West Point officer to have some of this psychology stuff. Oh, psychology. Oh, what is this stuff, huh? So the best military minds, the best psych minds put their head together. What do we want to teach every West Point officer about psychology? And it really begins with this, a very important concept. We got what we're going to call the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, folks, this is often called fight or flight. And this is called rest and digest, right? And when we tell our cadets, think of this as all the guys in the front lines with the rifle. And these are all the cooks and clerks and mechanics and bakers that are doing the maintenance job. When you're asleep at night, your unit's on standby, right? You don't have a guard at the front gate. You wake up in the morning, you're in maintenance mode. Everybody's in maintenance. You wake up in the morning, get what we call homeostasis. Got some guys in the front lines with a rifle, maintenance guys doing their job. Back to sleep at night, wake up in the morning, rocking on, and somebody tries to kill you. Oh, total sympathetic nervous system arousal. Digestion, we don't need those thinking digestion. Blow the ballast. All the cooks and clerks and bakers drop their rinse, they drop their pencil, they get in the front line with the rifle, and as soon as the danger's gone, boom, you go down here. Folks, Napoleon said the moment of greatest vulnerability is immediately after victory. The moment of greatest vulnerability is immediately after victory. Why? Well, we let our guard down. It's more than letting your guard down. It's a hormonal crash, and you can't get back up again. So we teach our cops to train all the way through the incident. We do our force-on-force engagement. We don't stop when the role player bad guy's down. We secure the crime scene. We provide first aid. We call for backup. We secure evidence. There are things that we need to do, and we train for those things. Our attack team sweeps through the objective. We don't stop there. We reorganize and call and get ready to roll on to the next mission or somebody else coming in. And so we train all the way through. But folks, in a nutshell, PTSD, every time you remember it, you relive it. Every time you think about it, you go on this roller coaster ride again. So the path to healing is to remember it without reliving it. Well, how do we do that? Well, the answer is with this rest and digest. Now, folks, I started interviewing World War II vets and Vietnam vets in 1988. I present entire reunions and conduct interviews and surveys afterwards. They've had the honor to work with Korea vets at quite that level. And folks, I knew if they were talking about combat and they started to become emotional, something counterproductive was happening. They re-experienced the event. I'd make them stop and breathe. Well, I'll teach you the breathing later. It's powerful. But today, we put a bottle of water in front of them. A friend of mine is one of our nation's leading therapists for law enforcement. Does the doc who treats you as gunshot wound after gunshot wound, you think, give me a shot, you can't treat a gunshot wound. Can we all agree that's crazy? Well, the shrink who helps you, whatever happened, does not have been where you are to help them. You know, but I am, you can't help me. That's a cop-out. That's a pity party. This lady is truly one of the greats in the field. And she told me 14 years of practice, 6 years of college, and that stupid bottle of water is doing more good than anything I've ever done. You sit and talk about what happened, and every time they start to become emotional, they stop. They go through the water, regain control. Folks, this is the power. It makes people breathe. Also sends a powerful message. A deer is being chased by a wolf. Can you stop getting a drink of water? He's really thirsty. I can't stop. I'm being chased by a wolf. The fact that you take a drink of water sends a powerful biological message. And folks, dry mouth. We all know that dry mouth is a very common stress response. You see, when you're in rest and digest mode, you salivate. We see food, we salivate. The opposite of that is dry mouth. But a swig of water is a powerful tool to control all of those dynamics and take us from fight or flight to rest and digest. But it goes even further. I was teaching a major special ops unit, and my host there, I was telling about his wife was a emergency room psychiatrist. And she told him about something sweeping around the world in the emergency rooms. You got a crackhead or a meth head tearing up the ER. You know what they do? They grab a bag of M&Ms, they rip it open, they shove it in his face, would you like some M&Ms? And completely diffuse the situation. He said, I'm your typical cynical guy. I said, yeah, I just blew it off. This kind of guy cares if you're not duty, kind of guy you want to. He said, 2 different times I thought it's time to draw my gun and fight for our lives. Both times my wife reaches in her purse, pulls out a bag of M&Ms, rips it open, shoves the guy's face, would you like some M&Ms, and completely defuse the situation. He said, that's one thing a pretty girl doesn't. I'm still not sure it worked for me. You couldn't have plan B back here. But the power of food, just thinking of food, to calm people down. One last thing, and then we're going to have this first afternoon break. Folks, this is all new. This is breathing and this other stuff is fairly new. And this is brand new. A cop came up to me and brought his partner with him to vouch for the story, because the story was so wild. They had a naked guy in the front yard, screaming and shouting and throwing stuff. Now, naked guy means there's probably something wrong here. And very often, it's what we call excited delirium. Their body goes into overdrive. They're hot. That's why they take their clothes off. And they're pretty irrational. And if you have a naked guy die on you, we have somebody take a temperature. If he's running a temp, something happened and you didn't do it. Was this excited delirium? We don't know. But he's in the yard screaming and shouting, throwing things. The parents on the porch said, don't shoot our kid, don't shoot our kid. The cop said, I happen to have a Snickers bar in my hand. I thought, what the hell? I said, hey buddy, you want a cigarette bar? Huh? Well, would you like a cigarette bar? Huh? Well, would you like a cigarette bar? Yeah. Follow me up to your room. Follow me to your room, I'll give it to you. Let him boom, give cigarette bar, walked away. Game over. Now, was it excited delirium? Would it work again? We don't know. It's one of those what do you got to lose kind of things, you understand? But just remember the power of talking over a meal, the power of talking over a beer, taking a swig of water, a swig of beer until you get drunk, then it gets counterproductive. and to calm people down, be able to talk rationally. And it works with children. You know, across China, Japan, Korea, if somebody's upset, the first thing to do is hand them a glass of water. It's part of their culture. And so get a kid, you totally lost it. You want a drink of water? Oh, I need a drink of water. Because very quickly we can use it. And so folks, remember 5% of the British troops, the Dutch troops, and our troops contracted PTSD. But the Dutch looked at it very, very closely. They don't think it's the event that they did. They think it's a predisposing factor. And their working theory is people ought to ramp it up. They've never learned how to ramp it back down again. The people that taught as a child to take a swig of water and gain control. Can't do any harm, it could do some good. A little more on that. All right, so folks, we're going to tell, most people say the first hour after lunch is the hardest. You ever heard that? Research says that's not true. Research says the second hour after lunch is the hardest. The sugar buzz is winning, the caffeine buzz is winning. Never, ever keep people on the tail for much more than an hour after lunch. 10 minutes, because Big Head will be on the 12, ready to rock and roll.